Chapter 32 of Colonel Quaritch, V.C. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Colonel Quaritch, V.C. by H. Rider Haggard. Chapter 32. George prophesies again. 6 weeks have passed, and in that time several things have happened. In the first place, the miserly old banker, Edward Cossey's father, had died, his death having been accelerated by the shock of his son's accident. On his will being opened, it was found that property and money to no less a value than £600,000 passed under it to Edward absolutely, the only condition attached being that he should continue in the house of Cossey and Son and leave a certain share of his fortune in the business. Edward Cossey had also, thanks chiefly to Bella's tender nursing, almost recovered. With one exception, he was, and would be for life, stone deaf in the right ear. The paralysis, which the doctors had feared, had not shown itself. One of the first questions, when he became convalescent, was addressed to Bella Quest. He had, as in a dream, always seen her sweet face hanging over him, and dimly known that she was ministering to him. "Have you nursed me ever since the accident, Bella?" he said. "Yes," she answered. "It is very good of you, considering all things," he murmured. "I wonder that you did not let me die." And she turned her face to the wall and said never a word, nor did any further conversation on these matters pass between them. Then, as his strength came back, so did his passion for Ida de la Molle revive. He was not allowed to write or even receive letters, and with this explanation of her silence he was fain to content himself. But the Squire, he was told, often called to inquire after him, and once or twice Ida came with him. At length a time came, it was 2 days after he had been told of his father's death, when he was pronounced fit to be moved into his own rooms and to receive his correspondence as usual. The move was effected without any difficulty, and here Bella bade him good-bye. Even as she did so, George drove his fat pony up to the door, and getting down, delivered a letter to the landlady, with particular instructions that it was to be delivered to Mr. Cossey's own hands. As she passed, Bella saw that it was addressed in the Squire's handwriting. When it was delivered to him, Edward Cossey opened it with eagerness. It contained an enclosure in Ida's writing, and this he read first. It ran as follows: "Dear Mr. Cossey, I am told that you are now able to read letters, so I hasten to write to you. First of all, let me tell you how thankful I am that you are in a fair way to complete recovery from your dreadful accident. And now I must tell you what I fear will be almost as painful to you to read as it is for me to write, namely, that the engagement between us is at an end. To put the matter frankly, you will remember that I rightly or wrongly became engaged to you on a certain condition. That engagement has not been fulfilled. For Mr. Quest, to whom the mortgages on my father's property have been transferred by you, is pressing for their payment. Consequently, the obligation on my part is at an end, and with it the engagement must end also, for I grieve to tell you that it is not one which my personal inclination will induce me to carry on. Wishing you a speedy and complete recovery, and every happiness and prosperity in your future life, believe me, dear Mr. Cossey, very truly yours, Ida de la Molle." He put this uncompromising and crushing epistle down, and nervously glanced at the Squire's, which was very short. It began: "My dear Cossey, Ida has shown me the enclosed letter. I think that you did unwisely when you entered into what must be called a money bargain for my daughter's hand. Whether under all the circumstances she does either well or wisely to repudiate the engagement after it has once been entered into is not for me to judge. She is a free agent, and has, of course, a right to dispose of her life as she thinks fit. This being so, I have, of course, no option but to endorse her decision, so far as I have anything to do with the matter. It is a decision which I for some reasons regret, but which I am quite powerless to alter. Believe me, with kind regards, yours truly, James de la Molle." Edward Cossey turned his face to the wall and indulged in such meditations as the occasion gave rise to, and they were bitter enough. He was as bent upon this marriage as he had ever been, more so in fact, now that his father was out of the way. He knew that Ida disliked him. He had known that all along, but he had trusted to time and marriage to overcome the dislike. And now that accursed quest has brought about the ruin of his hopes. Ida had seen her chance to escape, and had, like a bold woman, seized upon it. There was one ray of hope, and only one. He knew that the money would not be forthcoming to pay off the mortgages. He could see, too, from the tone of the Squire's letter, that he did not altogether approve of his daughter's decision. And his father was dead. Like Caesar, he was the master of many legions, or rather of much money, which is as good as legions. Money can make most paths smooth to the feet of the traveller, and why not this? After much thought he came to a conclusion. He would not trust his chance to paper. He would plead his cause in person. So he wrote a short note to the Squire, acknowledging Ida's and his letter, and saying that he hoped to come and see them as soon as ever the doctor would allow him out of doors. Meanwhile George, having delivered his letter, had proceeded upon another errand. Pulling up the fat pony in front of Mr. Quest's office, he alighted and entered. Mr. Quest was disengaged, and he was shown straight into the inner office, where the lawyer sat, looking more refined and gentlemanlike than ever. "How do you do, George?" he said cheerily. "Sit down. What is it?" "Well, sir," answered that lugubrious worthy, as he awkwardly took a seat, "the question is, what isn't it? These be rum times, they be. They fare to puzzle a man, they do." "Yes," said Mr. Quest, balancing a quill pen on his finger, "the times are bad enough." Then came a pause. "Dash it all, sir," went on George presently, "I may as well get it out. I have come to speak to you about the Squire's business." "Yes," said Mr. Quest. "Well, sir," went on George, "I am told that these mortgages have passed into your hands, and that you have called in the money." "Yes, that is correct," said Mr. Quest again. "Well, sir, the fact is that the Squire can't get the money. It can't be had nohow. Nobody won't take the land as security. It might be so much water for all people will look at it." "Quite so. Land is in very bad order as security now." "And that being so, sir, what is to be done?" Mr. Quest shrugged his shoulders. "I do not know. If the money is not forthcoming, of course I shall, however unwillingly, be forced to take my legal remedy." "Meaning, sir?" "Meaning that I will bring in an action for foreclosure and do what I can with the lands." George's face darkened. "And that reads, sir, that the Squire and Miss de la Molle will be turned out of Honham, where they have been for centuries, and that you will turn in?" "Well, that is what it comes to, George. I am sincerely sorry to press the Squire, but it is a matter of £30,000, and I am not in a position to throw away £30,000. "Sir," said George, rising in indignation, "I do not know how you came by them there mortgages. There is some things that lawyers know and honest men don't know, and that is one of them. But it seems that you've got 'em and are going to use 'em, and that being so, Mr. Quest, I have somewhat to say to you, and that is that no goodwill will come to you from this move." "What do you mean by that, George?" said the lawyer sharply. "Never you mind what I mean, sir. I mean what I say. I means that some people has things in their lives snugged away where nobody can't see them, things as quiet as though they was dead and buried, and that ain't dead or buried. Things so much alive that they fare as though they were fit to kick the lid off their coffin. That's what I mean, sir, and I means that when folk set to work to do a hard and wicked thing, those dead things sometimes gets up and walks where they's least wanted. And mayhap if you goes on to turn the Squire and Miss Ida out of the castle, mayhap, sir, something of that sort will happen to you. For mark my word, sir, there's justice in the world, sir, as mayhap you will find out. And now, sir, I'll wish you good morning and leave you to consider what I have said." And he was gone. "George!" called Mr. Quest after him, rising from his chair. "George!" But George was out of hearing. Now what did he mean by that? What the devil did he mean?" said Mr. Quest.